Welcome back to Analytical Media. We are a consortium of therapists, college professors, and well-published peer-reviewed authors. You can find our book on the subject of psychopathy, entitled Descent into Darkness, at Amazon.com. It's an analysis of the murder of Travis Alexander by Jodi Arias. Today's question, I'll read it to you. Love this content. I have a question about feelings. Are all feelings valid just because you feel them? Should all feelings be validated? A feeling is true in the sense that you actually feel it. To say that you're afraid but you shouldn't be, that's not real, that's not true, you're still afraid. So in therapy, many therapists today feel that you have to validate all feelings someone has. And of course that is not true and could be horribly, terribly detrimental if someone were to do that. I think it's more important to recognize, is a feeling accurate in what it portends? You may be afraid, you may be jealous, you may be angry, and those are legitimate feelings. You actually feel that way, but are they predictive of reality? Do these feelings accurately portray reality? Should you be jealous? I know you feel jealous, but should you be? Should you be angry or murderous? That defines the predictive quality of the feeling, the accuracy of that feeling. So are feelings accurate might be a better way to look at this. And they are oftentimes inaccurate. You may feel something that you believe to be love, but in reality, when you analyze it, it's not love. You might feel the urge to do violence, but if we analyze it, should you do the violence? Is it adaptive for you to do that violence? So what I'm saying, and to shorten it, to make it more understandable, to make it easier for everyone, what I'm saying is your feelings can be inaccurate. You might feel that you're inferior, and that could be terribly inaccurate. You might be superior. You might feel that you're fat, but you're not. In reality, you're not. You're not overweight one drop. You might feel that you're ugly, and in reality, you might be a fashion model, or could be. Feelings are not necessarily accurate. You should challenge your feelings. You should test your feelings. You should analyze them. And if you can't do it, you should have a therapist do it with you, or perhaps for you. But there are many people that have inferiority complexes who are not in the least inferior. Think about that. They feel inferior, but they aren't. In reality, they aren't. So feelings oftentimes have come from a much earlier stage of life, an earlier period. And it doesn't mean they were accurate when they happened then. You might have been attacked for being less than perfect. You might have been attacked for being chubby, slightly overweight, or attacked or accused of being chubby or overweight or fat, when in reality you were perfectly normal. You were within a normal scale range of weight. But you reacted to it as a child. You reacted to it at an early stage, and you internalized it to mean that yes, you were that way. Children can be vicious. Be nice to think they weren't or couldn't be, but children can be very vicious, and you know it. You may have had you may have had your feelings hurt as a child, but what I was going to say is chances are the worst things that were said about you when you were a child by children who made fun of you, told you were stupid, that nobody liked you, that you were ugly, made fun of your teeth, made fun of your hair, made fun of your body, made fun of your hands, made fun of your voice, made fun of your singing voice. They can be vicious. Your very best friend can disown you and develop other friends. It's not like equal friends, but you've been disowned because they have another friend. And you know that thing you may have experienced it where there are three friends and they get along, and then two of the friends disown the other one and want to have nothing to do with the other one, which is horribly painful to the odd person out. But that can quickly reverse, and then the odd person out can be the person in with somebody. It can vary, it can move. But all of these things can result in how you see yourself and feel about yourself. And so you have to remember that many feelings that you might have are inadequate. They're not right. They're false. They're valid only in the sense that you legitimately feel it, but they're not correct. It's not a correct interpretation of reality. And it can be crippling. If you have formed a negative self-image, you may never achieve in life that which you are capable of achieving and desirous of achieving, simply because you were afraid to try and fail. You say, oh, I can't do that. How many of you have been in a classroom and the teacher asks a question and you know the answer? Yes, it's ABC. And you're about to put your hand up and suddenly you become afraid because you know that all the other people in the room are smarter than you, or most of them are, or the really smart ones. You know, the girl that sits in the front seat and the guy that sits 3 seats back, and the ones you've determined are smarter than you, they don't have their hand up. So how in the world could you know something they don't know? So you pull your hand down, or you never put your hand up at all. You might not have put your hand up through primary school, right through high school, and maybe even through college. Maybe you started to put up your hand in graduate school, or when you became a medical doctor. The childhood experiences can form crippling emotions that you have to battle, and you have to recognize they're not real. These emotions that you're inadequate, you're no good, you're ugly, you're stupid, no one will ever love you. All these things probably came from childhood, and as such are most likely, almost certainly likely to be false, completely false. So, as I was saying, some therapists today, they think they've got to validate emotions and say, oh, poor baby, yes, you are ugly. Oh, poor baby, you're not very smart. You've got to live with not being very smart. We've got to make it acceptable to you not being very smart. And that is a mistake. And you'll see that in therapy. We will talk about Abraham Maslow and his therapeutic approach, his psychotherapy, which is really sometimes referred to as analytical psychology, self-actualizing therapy, by different things. It's something we will go into perhaps for hundreds of hours, and I'm not exaggerating. It's a reality-based therapy. Maslow said, the only healthy people, which means mentally healthy people, are self-actualizing people. So that's it. You want to be healthy mentally, you've got to be self-actualizing. If you're not, you will be mentally unwell to one degree or another. So self-actualizing people have one characteristic above everything else, and that is their ability to see reality clearly. That, according to Maslow, and of course it makes sense, if you can see reality clearly, then your predictions of the future will be far more accurate than someone who misperceives reality. And what does that mean? It means when you are deciding or predicting what career you should go into, You're going to be happier if you're self-actualizing because your prediction, because you see reality right now clearer, and your prediction of the future that you'll be happy in such and such will be more accurate. So chances are you will be happier. When you're determining who you should marry, the ability to see reality clearly will help you determine that. When you decide whether or not you should have children, the ability to see reality clearly right now will help you predict how you're going to feel in the future. So notice he says see reality clearly, not clearly understand what emotions you feel. He doesn't say that. You need to see reality because many emotions are not reality based. We could talk about this for, honestly, for dozens of hours. I could give you many, many examples. But I hope that'll do for now. If you have any further questions, just list it as this question was listed. It said, love this content. I have a question about feelings. Are all feelings valid just because you feel them? Question mark. Should all feelings be validated? Question mark. If you have a question, put it in the comments. Email the question to us. And let us know how you like the content. So, other than that, I'm going to wrap up and I will talk to you the next time we post. See ya.